All right. Hey, how's everybody doing today? I guess it was a repeat of yesterday a little bit. Bitcoin was up in the morning and then red in the afternoon, along with the miners. So, well, the miners were down in the beginning for the most part, anyways. But kind of came down where I thought it was going to come down yesterday when we talked about it. We'll talk about it some more today as far as where it went and where we're possibly heading to. We'll also take a look at just two stories that we have here. Marathon bought some more Bitcoin. Hut 8 bought some more Bitcoin. And that's basically it as far as stories are concerned. We'll look at some metrics, and that's about it. We'll get into Q&A at the end, and we'll call it a day. But you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out, as always. So let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is starting to come back up a little bit here in the new day. But we did come down quite a bit here. 2.77% on the day we were down. We closed at 97,375. We did hit a low of 95,539. So it kind of came down, like I said yesterday, that we might possibly come down right when we talked about it. Yesterday I said we might come down to about 10% from the top here, which was right around here. It was a little bit higher than that, roughly. I mean, it's pretty close, right there, right? That's kind of where we ended up at, where we kind of closed the day off at, and that's kind of what I thought. We'd come down 10%. And then I said, if that doesn't hold, we might come down possibly to like 15% down, which would bring us down to approximately 92,000 or so. Is that still in play? Well, possibly. We'll see how tomorrow is. Tomorrow's Friday before the weekend here. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a good Friday, but only time will tell on that one. But here's 15% on that. How far that would be 92,000 on it, and after that we might bounce because we obviously didn't hold support here at 100,000 here. So we're definitely coming down, but we were battling with it this morning, and it didn't work out to our advantage, it looks like. You can see it here. It was trying to get above the 100,000 mark and stay there, but then it, right around 11 o'clock in the morning, it started falling down and it continued to fall down, and it's been going kind of sideways here ever since then. So we'll see how tomorrow plays out for us with Bitcoin. The miners today were down. MicroStrategy was down as well. Cleanspark was battling really hard today to be positive, but it ended up in the red just like everybody else did, except for CORZ. CORZ finished out the day just up a little bit here, 0.21%. Bitfarms was down 7%. BitTF was down 6.5% roughly. Cypher's 8.75%. Cleanspark was down 3.6%. CORZ was up a little bit. Hive was down 7.6%. Hut was down almost 9%. IREN was down 5.9% roughly. Marathon 5.75% down. Riot was down 6.3%. Wolf was down almost 7% as well. And then some of the smaller miners were also down, except for Mawson, for some reason, was up 2.36%. And then the ETFs were down as well. So kind of played out the way I thought it was going to be. If you guys were able to buy at these levels, I think that's a good entry point here going forward, potentially. We might get another dip a little bit more below that. But Bitcoin's, it's trying to get green right now a little bit. But if we do come down, we're coming down to like maybe 92,000, which would be like right around the 50-day simple moving average, which we then might bounce off of that. And then we'll see if that holds. If that doesn't hold, we might be going down even more before everything is said and done. But let's go one day at a time. We'll see where tomorrow brings us, and we'll see where things are at with Bitcoin at that point. Right now, Bitcoin for the month of December is only up 1%. Not that great. We were hoping we were going to be at least up like maybe 15% or something like that. We were close to that at one point just a couple of days ago, but it has come down. Papa Powell kind of did us dirty a little bit with his hawkish talk. So that brought down the market, brought down Bitcoin as well. But in the end, I still think we are still early in the cycle. I don't see anything changing for Bitcoin going forward. It's just a little bit of a pause that we have here right now. And we could possibly use that because we were up huge, right? If we look at Bitcoin here, it's done a fantastic job going from 68,000 all the way up to 108,000. So it's up 40-some thousand in a matter of weeks here. The week right now looks like it's going to be a red week for us on Bitcoin. And we did have two pretty good weeks here prior to that where we were in the green. So a little pullback, I think, is healthy nonetheless. Would I have liked to have seen Bitcoin go up? Absolutely. I'm sure you guys would like it too on it. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat there. Okay, so that's it. Let's get into our two stories that we do have here really quick. Oop, too far. First one is here on Hut 8. Hut 8 today reported that they purchased approximately 990 Bitcoin. The aggregate purchase price of the acquired Bitcoin was approximately 100 million, or an average of approximately $101,710 per Bitcoin. They're a little bit underwater on that one right now, but not much. Let's see here. Combined with Bitcoin held prior to this purchase, Hut 8's strategic Bitcoin reserve now holds 10,096 Bitcoin with a market value of more than 1 billion as of December 18th, 2024. The purchased Bitcoin will play a central role in an innovative financing model for the company's previously announced fleet upgrade. So it seems like they're kind of betting on Bitcoin going up in value more, and then putting in close to $100 million on that. If Bitcoin goes 50% from here, and when they purchase the machines, right, they could get those basically almost for like free, or at least a portion of those, with that kind of a play. So I think it's a good play for them. Right, if you're going to do that, then that can make sense. If you're going to buy Bitcoin, hold it for a little bit, sell it at a profit, and then buy machines with it, I think that's actually a pretty good deal there. Pretty good plan. But they do go on here stating that how much they produced. As of 9/30/2024, they had 9,106. Realized average cost per Bitcoin held in reserve was at 16,088. That's actually pretty low. And that reflects Hut 8's cost to mine for produced Bitcoin and cost to purchase for purchased Bitcoin. Okay. On that, they purchased 990 here. Excuse me. Current realized average cost is 24,484. So really good cost there on Bitcoin. So that definitely helps them out, I think, going forward. But yeah, this is definitely a good play for them, I think. Next here is Mara. Mara announced today, as of 12/18, they now own 44,394 Bitcoin. I think this was as of yesterday. Today's the 19th, actually. Right? Yeah, today's the 19th, so this was as of yesterday. I don't know if we talked about it yesterday or not. I think we might have missed it. But their treasury has definitely increased some more there. So they keep buying Bitcoin here as it continues to go up. And I think that's going to work out pretty well for them. I'm also wondering if the FASB rules, I'm trying to figure out how that will work on the purchased Bitcoin as compared to the Bitcoin that they mine. How will that impact the FASB? And we'll see what that number comes in at the end of the quarter here for them. And after that, we can possibly see what the impact was on it, if anything. All right, that's all I got for you guys. We can take a quick look at Hut 8 here. What did they report? They reported 10,096. I am at 10,012 based on where they were at the end of the month here. I had 990 Bitcoin here. So maybe I just need to change that up completely. Let me scratch that. Let's do this over. Okay, do that. And then what was it? 10,096. Let's put that in there. 10,086. 10,096. Okay. Not 20,000. 10,000. There we go. So that's valued roughly right now around 987 million. So pretty close to $1 billion like they were talking about here earlier. All right. So that's Hut 8 there. Let's take a look at the enterprise metrics as of today. Not much change there. Yes, the prices on the miners did come down, so the values came down a little bit here for them as well. But nothing has really changed here. There's still quite a few that are undervalued and quite a few that are overvalued. We'll see if we get that flip happening here in the next couple months. It'll be interesting to see. All right, that is it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things, see what happens. I didn't see anything else that was interesting in the news today. It was a pretty slow news day for the most part, from what I could tell. Unless I missed something, and you guys can let me know then. But let's get into the Q&A. All right. Let's here, as always, preface the questions with a question mark, and then I'll try to get through all your questions as well. I'm going to scroll up a little bit here. And luckily, we haven't been going too long, so there shouldn't be too many questions here. What do we got here? We got quite a few guys popping in here, which is great. Always happy to see you guys here. All right. Retail investors, where's my Santa rally? It might come next week, maybe. We'll see. All right, let's see. Are you down on Bitfarms, Seb? I'm like break even right now with them at what are they at $1.69, something like that? Was where they finished out? $1.69. I'm like just like 1 or 2% in profit right now with them. Question: do you think the S&P 500 and Nasdaq go higher? They need to regain all losses from Wednesday soon. I do think they will go eventually go higher. I don't know if it's going to be still this year still. We still have what do we have now? 5.5 trading days left or something like that, going into the next 2 weeks. So it's not a lot of trading days there. So we'll see. But yeah, I think next year we'll definitely regain those losses. All right. Let's see here. Another big story. El Salvador gave up Bitcoin Standard. I saw that, but did they give it up completely? I know that they got the loan from the IMF, I think it is, was it International Monetary Fund or something like that? What do they get there? 1.5 billion or something, or 1.6? I can't remember exactly that. But they're still allowing the citizens there to basically hold Bitcoin and use Bitcoin, right? But correct me on that one if they completely give it up. Okay, what else do we have here? Harrison says, I don't see how Bitcoin or how miners go up. Not in the short term, but I think in the long term they still will. Long term meaning in the next 3 to 6, 9 months, something like that. Do you think the markets will recover before Trump takes office? I do. I think they're, right now it's going to be a little bit of a selling pressure on the markets in general. Markets need to cool off a little bit as well. We've had a nice rally in those. If we look at those here really quick, Dow Jones Industrial Average, I mean, look at this. It's gone up since October here. What are we up on that one? That one is up basically 40%, right? A little correction here of how much have we gone down? We've gone down only 5%. I think we can do like 10% correction, meaning we'd probably go back down to the 50 simple day moving average, right? We did that a couple of times here as well, where we kind of fell below these numbers. And then we bounced back up. So we had a little bit of a lull here, looks like from January, basically, and into, when was this? March 23, right? This is January, December, January 21st, 22. Oh, I'm looking at the weekly here. No wonder. Yeah, daily is what I wanted to take a look at. Daily here this past year, more or less. Let's take a look at the 1 year. I mean, we've had this where it goes up, down, but we've been going up the whole time. If you look far enough back, right? It's never going to be a smooth ride, and we're down on it. Like I said, what are we down? 5% on it right now. From the top here, roughly, we are down a little bit more than that, 6% or so. So I think that's a good little healthy pullback on that one. This is the Nasdaq Composite Index, same thing, right? It's gone up, down, up, down. It's been going up. We need a little bit of a pullback, and then we'll continue going back up. S&P also here, same thing. I mean, you can see the same kind of trend happening. We were down, when was this? This was back in July, right? July, we came down 10% or so, roughly, on it. And then we went up, down, continue to go up, down, and it's just going to continue going that way, I think. Not much is going to change there, I don't believe, unless we have interest rates start to go up much higher and the economy slows down much higher. But I mean, right now, things are still looking pretty good. I know that the Fed is trying to fight off inflation, but still also keep a healthy job market. So it's not easy. They're doing their best as they can, but in the interim, I think the markets are going to do fine here. The people are still working. Unemployment's pretty low as it is, and yeah, I think things are going to be fine. I don't see an issue with that. Little pullback here, not a big deal. We'll see where this goes, though. But I think the next 2 weeks are going to be rough. Excuse me. Yep. Go back here. Let's see. Are you still having hope with Bitfarms and their business model? I do. They just got to continue to execute on their operations, their growth. Especially their growth. They really need to get that maybe increase or decrease their timeline to get to the 21 exahash. I know they've been talking to that's not going to happen until the end of the first half. If they can improve that by a couple months, that would be great. Wow, I'm really starting to lose my voice. Yeah. But yeah, I think they're going to do fine here. They're going to get Stronghold coming up as well in the first quarter of next year. That should help there as well. So they do have a lot of good things still happening for them. Do you think Bitcoin will reach 120 by the end of the year? Boy, that's going to be tough. Bitcoin doesn't stop trading, right? So it trades 24/7. It could continue to go up. I think that if we maintain support, at least right around where we are right now, around 97,000. If not, 92,000 has to hold. If it doesn't hold, then it's going to be really tough for us to get to 120,000 by the end of the year. We still could get above 100,000 maybe, but 120 is going to be a little rough now. Let's see, BTC looks great, but miners have not seen much gains this year. Do you think they have a chance this cycle? Yeah, I still do. And the reason I think that is, if you just look at the revenue they're generating right now, we can possibly look at that also. Let's see here. Let me pull up a couple of these guys here for comparison from where they were, where they are right now. So if we look at the guys that are growing, so one of them has been growing really nicely is Cleanspark, right? They are pretty much back to where, revenue-wise at least, 53 million in November here. December should be even a better month for them compared to what they mined in November. And then then they were in March, right before the halving event, right? They were at 54 million. So they're right at where they were prior to the halving event. With Bitcoin going up in value, that's going to generate even more revenue for them. They're continuing to grow their hash rate as well. You had also IREN grow really nicely here, right? Excuse me. They're generating also more revenue here per month now than they did actually prior to the halving event. So that's looking good for them. Marathon, same thing for them. They grew nicely with their hash rate. Look at them. They're at 76.5 million here in November. That's kind of where they were back in December. Almost surpassing that, actually. I think they might actually surpass that in December here, with their revenues getting to a new all-time high in revenue per month for them. Riot also, if we look at them, they've been improving also, right? They're at 42 million here. They're way better than they were prior to the halving event. So the revenues are increasing, and that should help the miners out, especially the ones that are growing. Some of the ones that are not growing, those guys are having a little bit more, maybe more issues there, right? We have TeraWolf right now is generating, right, 9.9, kind of the same thing, still way off from where they were in March, about half of what they were after the halving event, but they're getting a nice, well, they've had a nice appreciation in the stock price because of HPCI potential there. We'll see what if and what materializes there for them on that front. Who else do we have here? Cypher also. All right, revenues have kind of increased here a little bit in November for them as well, but still not near where they were in March. So I do think as Bitcoin price goes up, that the miners will benefit from it, and the stock price should also increase because of that, right? Especially as the margins get much better for them as Bitcoin price goes up in value. That's always the case here, and we should see that in Q1. So when they do report like the Q1 results, maybe at that point they really start running because they're going to be generating a lot more. Plus, if you take into consideration the FASB rules that they're going to be applying here for the Q4, I mean, that's going to add quite a bit of dollars per share in earnings on top of it. So that should be a big help there as well. Okay. Going back here. What else do we have here? Let's see. 97 says the IMF now gets to tell them what to do. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Let's see. Isn't the Bitfarms a great buying opportunity? I think so also. I think some of the other miners might do better, but I think they're still way undervalued from where they really should be. And if they do actually get a fair valuation on them, they would be valued much higher. Okay. Let's see. Question: what if 108,000 was temporarily top, then we get a rally to 125? What price do you see in IREN, Bitfarms, and Cleanspark? Thank you. They're going to be subdued from, I mean, they're going to be much higher from where we are right now. Right, if 108,000 was the temporary top, we come down to 92, maybe 88,000 or something like that in Bitcoin. Then we start going back up. Would they follow Bitcoin maybe a little bit better with better revenues and things like that? Maybe. But I think we need to see Bitcoin like closer to 150,000 for these guys to really start taking off and doing much better. Okay. Let's see. So frustrating. Bitfarms and Cleanspark. Be patient is really tough, but it still seems like the right thing to do. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking to actually maybe buy some more. I might be able to scrounge out some change for buying tomorrow. If not, I'll have to do it sometime next week. Let's see here. Don't want to sell so low and don't know what to get anyway. Do you agree with me? Yeah, I totally agree. It's definitely frustrating, right? I definitely thought they would be much higher than where they are right now. I think with Cleanspark, with them getting the convertible note and then not having an ATM, also they mentioned not having any dilution or for ATM or anything like that for the next possible 6 months to a year, if not maybe longer. That should be a good catalyst to grow the stock going forward. Bitfarms, we need them to get the acquisition of Stronghold done and over with, I think, because that's also weighing on the dilution that's going to be happening there on them, and then just operating much better as far as growth is concerned. All right. Do you expect Riot to reach above 20 by January? Last cycle we were in 30s. What's your thoughts on Riot reaching 80 by February as last cycle? Well, Bitcoin would have to definitely go up much higher, much faster than we think in order for that to happen. Could it still happen, though? possibly. What if Bitcoin gets to 150,000 by maybe late February, early March, something like that? Could those miners really start to run at that point? I think so, but I don't know if 80 would be possible yet. I think for 80, you need Bitcoin to be closer to like 200,000 to 250,000 for those guys to get those highs again. Question, quick explanation on capped calls. So the way I understand capped calls is that they are a hedge for the company to limit the amount of dilution that they would need to do with the convertible notes. That's just the way I understand it. There's a great video. The Mining Pod did it with Zach and Gary V there, their CFO. They go into a great explanation of how that works. I would highly recommend you watch that. It's the Mining Pod, and it's the interview here just from last, like a couple of days ago. Let's see here. I remember in January 2024 when HUT dipped so much compared to others and people hated them for it. Now look at them. I think Bitfarms are being manipulated into crap, but you can't keep the price low forever. I agree. Yeah, I would agree there. Let's see here. Actually, Bitfarms and Cleanspark are both down almost the same from March. Yeah, they're definitely being highly manipulated there, kept down, shorted, and things like that. Yes, eventually they will run. Let's see. Markets look great, to be honest. Miners are not doing good at all. No. Well, some miners are, some aren't. It just depends on the miners. But yeah, I agree with you there. We need a little bit of a rotation happening into those guys here. Okay, what else do we have here? All right. You think Cleanspark going to 50 if BTC is at 178,000? At 200,000 plus, I would think so, yeah. 178 might be a little too low. Hi, Sub. Do you think the January 20, the swearing in of the new president, the market will skyrocket knowing that Trump will be their catalyst? Possibly. Right, depending on also what he does on his first day. If he makes a executive order for Bitcoin to be used as a strategic reserve, and maybe not, he can't really do that, but he can at least say that the 200,000 plus that they have right now confiscated, they could use that for that purpose, and then get a law in place within 100 days of him being in office. I think that would be great. Also, businesses will know that he's pro-business, right? Less regulations, things like that. That should be a really good catalyst for the markets, I think. Okay. What else we got here? All right. Shaibu here asks a question. Hi, Sebastian. You've received questions asking why the miners are basically the same price as they were when Bitcoin was much, much lower, and responded that big guys are shorting. Question 1 of 2. Question 2 of 2. What will need to happen for the shorts to stop shorting? Okay, well, let's start there. I think Bitcoin price needs to go up much higher. The revenues need to be much better than where they are right now, which they are improving, so that's a sign there. And eventually I think they're going to flip on those guys and start going along, because the revenues increasing, profit margins will be much better. FASB rules being in place as well, that should help the stock. So there's just a lot of things that are going to be happening that are good for them. Let's see, what was it? What was the rest of it? Bitcoin has billions in influence per day. It seems so much would have to be bought per day for explosive growth to happen. Well, we had explosive growth here just the last 2 months, right, where we went from 60,000 to 100,000. It doesn't take much for it to move. You got companies buying it. Marathon, Mara, Hut 8. You got, who else is buying it here recently? Riot had bought it. MicroStrategy continues to buy it. You got country looking to put it on their balance sheets. States, everything in between. And the supply here is only 450 Bitcoin per day. There's just such an imbalance in the demand and the supply that there's going to be a squeeze on it, and it's going to have to rip higher because of it. Okay. Harrison says, damn, seems like all hope is really gone. Everyone's morale is dead. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get. With Bitcoin coming down and everything else, everybody's in the dumps, but you have to look at it at a longer time frame, is what I always try to say. Short term is going to be bouncy, as I always say, but the trend is to the upwards. Okay. Question. Did you see Rex's interview with Cleanspark saying they can loan their Bitcoin for 4%? Someone that lost money in Celsius, man, that's scary. Losing all that Bitcoin, even though I would I would like shareholder dividend. Oh, shareholder dividend. I don't think we're going to get dividends with any of these guys really right now, to be honest with you guys. Not for a while, unless we see Bitcoin going up in value or being at least steady for a number of quarters. Because it's just so volatile right now, you can't go out and give dividends when you really need to grow. So we really need we really need to see a change in Bitcoin and the way the volatility is on that one. All right. Okay, is Mara stock good to buy at 20? I think so, yeah. You may have a little bit more dip here in the next day or so, so be prepared for that as well. Okay, let's see. What if BlackRock, etc., manipulates the price down so they can buy the miners really cheap so they can control the Bitcoin networks? No, I don't see BlackRock wanting to buy all these guys. All right. Why do you think that Bitcoin price at 95,000 is now lower than last month when at 95,000? Hard to believe. Cleanspark and IREN is still hugely profitable even at, they're still hugely profitable. And then why do you think that Bitcoin price at 95,000 is now lower than last month? I don't think it's lower. Last month was, what was it last month? Last month, if we look at it, going back to November, it's right there where we were. It's probably like the beginning of the month we were at. Take a look at this. Going back over here. But you can see here, November 30th, we were at, closed at 95,000. We're pretty much where we were right then. At the beginning of the month, we were lower in price. If we go to that, that was 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. November here, we were back here in November 1st. We were at 70,000 at that point. So we still have a ways to go to get back down to the lowest levels, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. All right, what else we got here? Okay, question. If we had to head into a recession, how long could it last? Have you invested through a recession? The only one that I kind of invested was back in 2008. And I was investing in like penny stocks and things like that, but I haven't really invested in anything major at that point. I still don't think we're going to head into a recession, at least not in 2025. I could see it possibly towards maybe the middle or the end of 2026, depending on how things play out, or we might not even get into one at that point as well. Why are influencers and Twitter saying these companies are being shorted? The short interest in these is always the same. It's not always the same. You can see it on if you look at it historically on the changes on it, which I do have. I can point that out to you here. Let's see here. Going down here, where's the shorted numbers on these guys? Institutions shorted, there it is. All right, so there's a short, and you can see it on some of these guys here where they're going back to basically almost the beginning of the year here. So Marathon has definitely increased the number of shares being shorted on them as time went on. Riot, more or less same thing, kind of peaked in June, but it has been coming down a little bit for them. TerraWolf has been continuing to get increasing shorts. We also saw that in IREN here. We saw it. Hot 8 has actually come down a little bit. Hive has actually come down, which is surprising. Core has kind of stayed flat more or less. Cleanspark has increased quite a bit here from the beginning of the year, right? In February, 24 million. Now you got 56 million shares shorted. Cypher increased there as well, doubled pretty much. And their short interest, same thing for Bitfarms more or less. BitDeer as well. So they are being shorted, and it has been increasing towards the tail end here. It looks like on some of these guys more than others. Okay, going back here. Let's see here. The world is in a recession, and the 1% running things think a new round of trade wars is a great idea. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, after the cycle ends, will you still be invested in miners and crypto? I'll still be invested in crypto, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. I'll be out of the other altcoins that I have. At least that's the plan. The miners, if we have a repeat of the cycles we've had in the past where we have a big top and then we fall back down, I will be out of the miners by then. At least the goal is to be out of them by then, before we hit the bottom. And I'll hold off, see what happens, and maybe, rinse and repeat again. do this same thing again. Start buying them when they're really low, towards the bottom. Dollar cost average into them as best as I can. Hold on to them for a year or two. Well, it's more like 2 or 3 years. Add on top of them as best I can. Reap the rewards at the end of it and repeat again. All right. Will Riot use their miner computers for AI, and will it affect stock price? They can't use their ASICs for AI. That is a totally different application altogether. The ASICs that they have for mining Bitcoin are, well, ASIC stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit. So it's just tailored to run the Bitcoin network, basically, to run that hash algorithm there. AI, you need GPUs and things like that, which they don't have right now, so they can't do it. None of them can, unless they actually have like GPUs, like Hive had GPUs, Hut 8 had GPUs, which they then transitioned over into some of this HPC workloads. Question why Cleanspark is so amazing. Talk to me, Seb. You know why, Chris. Everybody, well, you've been with me a long time. You know why I've been a big fan of Cleanspark. What else do we hear? All right, private asks. Anybody successfully selling covered calls in Cleanspark? What percentage, strike price, expiration date, and premium? Thanks. That's, hopefully somebody can answer that for you in the comments. That's something that I don't get into. All right, question. Does the amount of short shares matter if the companies are diluting? Don't you have to look at it as a percentage of the total float? Yeah, we do that. The shares definitely have been increasing, but the amount being shorted has been increasing more than that. I don't have the actual numbers for it on that one, but I've been keeping an eye on the percentage of float. I think Cleanspark is now at like 20 something. Let me see. Do I have it in here? Going up here. Percent of average floated shares. Here we go. So here's the numbers. Cleanspark's the number one, followed by Marathon Terrell. There's the percentage of float on some of these guys. Okay. Going back here. Question. Could miners benefit from quantum computing? How so? Quantum computing is still in the very early stages. It's going to take a lot more capital and a lot more time, I think, to get those things to mass production or even mass production at that point. Some of the big guys, governments could possibly get them, but big companies as well, but they're still very, very expensive. The only thing I could say with quantum computing is eventually the protection algorithm that's in there for SHA-256 for Bitcoin is going to have to get upgraded because of the concerns with quantum computing and what they could actually do to possibly break the security layer there. So that's going to be updated here probably in the next, I'm guessing, 5 to 10 years. In my throat. Okay. All right, Gary, here we go. Sorry, my last question I wrote wrong. Should have read, why are miners lower at Bitcoin 95 than last month at the same Bitcoin price? Seems miners have dipped more than they rose in last month. Yeah, we see that a lot of times when Bitcoin goes down, the miners go down more, and they have a hard time getting back up those gains. So it does happen from time to time. Okay. Miner Gijan says, lose 88K, cycle is over. Not necessarily. Last cycle, if you recall, we had times where we dipped 30-some%, right? So yeah, if we dip more than 30%, and maybe that's what you're talking about there, if we get below 88, that might be a 33% or a 30% drop. So a 30% drop would be way below that even. 30% drop on Bitcoin would be roughly 75,000. If we get below 75,000 and we don't hold that, yeah, then the cycle might be over. Because historically, if you look at last cycle, and if we go back to the top here, we're at 69, 63,000. All right, look at this. We had, and sorry, my dog is barking upstairs. We went down from here to bottom here, 31, right? 31%. We did that a couple times actually throughout the cycle. We went up here, came down 25, 30% or something like that, roughly. Did the same back here before we peaked, and then we also did a major dip here where we had a double top in the 2021 cycle, where we went from the top to the bottom. That was like a 55% drop. And then we regained that back, but we didn't go much higher than that. So I wouldn't expect to see a similar thing happen here, where we have a double top, but you just never know. We did it once. That doesn't mean that we can't do it again. Okay. Wow. She is really after something. All right, go back here. Ready? Where were we at? Okay. Let's see. Conservative price of IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, the BTCs at 200,000. Please advise. At that point, I would think IREN should be probably closer to like $40, $50. I would think at that point. Cleanspark, same thing, somewhere around there. Bitfarms, they should be at least at $10 at then. I would think. It's a 100% increase in Bitcoin price. For them, it should be at least, a 3 to 5x at that point. But we'll see. Do you think Bitfarms is suffering worse than others now? Cleanspark, IREN, and MicroStrategy is way down too. Suffering how worse? They've been beaten down this whole year, it seems like, with all the fight that's been surrounding them pretty much this whole year. If it isn't one thing, it's another thing that's been keeping them down. And it could be also that Riot, I keep saying this, Riot still holding shares of 19%, almost 20%. That could have an impact on the stock. It could be a catalyst where people are fearful of them potentially selling the stock as the stock goes up, right? So keeping the pressure on it on the downside or on the upside. All right. All right, what else we got? Your question, here we go. Okay, Riot offered to buy Bitfarms at $2.30 with the current price at $1.70. How do you think things would have played out at Bitfarms if the deal was successful? Well, we can theorize how that would have played out. They would have never offered to buy Stronghold, possibly. Riot would now be at 40 some exahash combined with Bitfarms there. So they would be definitely a bigger player than Cleanspark is right now, and pretty much on the heels of Marathon as well. But other than that, I don't know how else it would have played out. Would have been definitely a benefit to Riot. Here. Someone mentioned that even the simplest strategy of buying the S&P 500 is up 24% out of this year, while Cleanspark Bitfarms are not even up 1%. I don't want to think I have been foolish to buy these. Still hold. Yes, still hold. We're not at the end of the cycle here yet. If by the end of the cycle they don't perform much better, then yeah, depending on also when you got into them. I got into them much earlier. I'm still slightly positive on Bitfarms. I'm maybe 1 to 2% positive on it right now. But in Cleanspark, I'm still up much better. I was up much better when Bitcoin when Cleanspark was higher, but I'm still in the green with all of those that I have here, including IREN as well. So it all depends on timing a little bit as well, and when you got into them. At some point, if we see further downside, doesn't it make more sense to rotate into MicroStrategy? Well, MicroStrategy is going down as well. But yeah, I get what you're saying that where MicroStrategy might do better going forward. And that's that is the $1 million question there. Will it continue to do better, or will the miners actually do better because they will be generating more revenue going forward as Bitcoin goes up in value? Because you can see here that MicroStrategy has pulled back quite a bit, right? I kind of said that MicroStrategy is getting a little overheated here, I would say. And it has come down, what does it come down? 40% since then. And I think now it's getting into a more fair valuation based on what it has compared to where Bitcoin is and everything else. So will it more likely run with Bitcoin now at a proportional rate, or will it overrun again, which it could. It could overrun again or outrun Bitcoin and then come back down again. That's the way this one has kind of acted in the past, at least. Right. All right, there's that one. Let's see here. So would you agree that market makers are finding liquidity with the leverage loans that should flip and they will go for the leverage shorts? I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking that this is also, I don't know if it's a playbook of theirs or not, but yeah, they'll definitely be in a better position, I think, to make them run up now. All right, I said at 100,000 for Bitcoin top miners were at 12 to 14 range. Then what difference it makes in price when Bitcoin will top it on 20? Not much, right? If you're looking at only 15,000 to 25, 35,000, something like that, an increase, miners should be up at least a couple more dollars from where they were, right? Maybe closer to $20 at that point, something like that. Okay, let's see if there's a question. with this current situation with the miners like Cleanspark, Mawson, Riot, are you still expecting 3 to 4x? Yeah, I'm still expecting 3 to 4x. By everything, that's as long as Bitcoin gets to 200,000, 150,000, somewhere around there. I'm still expecting that. All right. Let's see here. Do you think that they are manipulating these down so much so we will sell early on the upside? Oh, that I don't know. Yeah, that's anybody's guess. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, it is the WIPS whipsaw. Been going on long time in the mini markets. Okay. Let's see here. The ETFs need the BTC and miners, so the hunt for liquidity must be driving this. Possibly. Okay, let's play a quick game. If we get to low price, what do you pick up? What do I pick up? Well, I want to pick up some more Cleanspark, IREN, and then possibly if I have any change left over, I'll get some more maybe Bitfarms. At these prices, they're definitely low. I was buying Bitfarms at higher levels than this, just this year alone itself. So if I can get it at this cheap of a level, I'd definitely like to buy those. And that's why I said yesterday, and I'm saying it again today, dollar cost average into them if you can. Be prepared for maybe a little bit more dips because we might get another dip tomorrow. Here, we'll see how tomorrow plays out. Okay, but that is it. Looks like I've come to all your guys' questions here. Let's see. Yeah, I've come to all your guys' questions here. So tomorrow's Friday, as you guys know. Friday typically don't stream unless something major happens in the markets. And at that point, I'll come online and we'll do a stream. But otherwise, we'll take 2 days off and I'll be back on Sunday. We'll do our annual weekly Sunday review of the miners and Bitcoin, see how they did for the week, and then look at anything else that I find interesting in the metrics and the stats and the charts and everything else that I have in there. We'll discuss it and discuss anything that happened maybe Friday that wasn't as maybe interesting that required a video. All right. So with that being said, really appreciate you guys coming in here. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Always enjoy the time here with you guys. You guys ask a bunch of questions, make me think, which I love. So love you all. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday unless something else happens tomorrow, massive. I'll see you tomorrow. All right.